Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
We're here live at Berkshire Elementary School, home of the Eagles, for the Science for Kern Challenge. And today, we're all here to...
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
And I'm Susie. You can call us in Bakersfield at 636-4357 if you need any help on your homework today. In San Luis Obispo, you can call toll-free 1-866-636-6284. You can even email us at dothemath@kern.org, but we won't see it until next Tuesday. If you can email on Tuesday or Wednesday early. After that, we won't see it till the next Tuesday. You can watch online at dothemathonline.net, and we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, well, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. And we will be going out to visit with Berkshire Elementary, and the Science for Kern Challenge is going on today out there. So we'll see what the Eagles will be doing. We have a very special guest in studio. We'll get to that young lady in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at today's Math in the News. All right, so today's Math in the News has to do with money, and we're going to talk a little bit about money. Now, Susie, have you seen a lot of these? We'll put this up on the screen for all the kids to...
Actually, I have.
Yeah? Do you have a lot of them?
Well, I teach piano, and some of my parents pay me with $100 bills
Oh,
instead
there
of
you go.
checks.
Hey, check that out. Hey, working the keyboards a little bit there, huh?
So, yeah.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Jackpot right there. So anyway, you're sure they're not counterfeit, correct?
I'm pretty sure. I haven't had one returned yet.
All right, well, there you go. Well, the reason I bring this up is because there was an article about how one certain bill, they don't keep redoing it, right? Because we know that the $100 bill goes through a lot of transformations. And that is due to mainly because of counterfeiting. Right? So there's a bill that doesn't get redone all the time, and that is the $1 bill.
That would be hard.
Right? And a lot of people think, well, the $1 bill doesn't get redone a lot because a lot of people aren't counterfeiting dollar bills. I mean, if you wanted to, it obviously would be easy enough, and they're not looking for counterfeit $1 bills that often. But that's not the main reason why dollar bills aren't updated. Here's the reason why. Vending machines. Okay? You see, vending machines, in order for them, because they're taking the dollar bills, right? In order for them to update all of the inner workings, it would cost them a lot of money. And a vending machine is pretty profitable. I guess you could buy one for a couple $100, let's say $500. And as long as you can operate it correctly, keep it going and without breaking down and things like that, they're pretty profitable as far as having a vending machine, because once you load it, it's like, all right, I'll go back whenever I need to, take the money and load it up again. But vending machines, I remember hearing about this, but this is the main reason why the dollar bill does not go through a lot of different transformations. So I figured, all right, how are we now going to apply this to math? Well, profit margin. Right? So we can see that for different companies, you can see that the revenue is A. So I figured we would use this because a lot of students are used to using variables now. So you could see where you could make the profit of C is A minus B. So you take the revenue, subtract the operating expense,
Right.
therefore you have a profit. Then you've got interest expense, you see how, and this for some students might go, all right, I've got too many columns here, I'm not following this. So something a little bit easier. So we can see that for company XYZ, they brought in $100, okay? But out of that $100, it cost them $20 to have the goods,
Yeah.
right? So they actually made $80, but operating expenses, let's say you had to pay somebody or other expenses, that cost $20. So the operating profit, if you had lights or whatever, so it's $60. Interest expense is $5, so earnings before taxes, now take the taxes out. So you can see that somebody that actually made $100, that was money brought in, they're
Only
actually
getting
making $30 that they can use.
Yeah.
And that is today's Math in the News. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. And as I said, we have a very special guest in studio with us this afternoon. We have Caitlin in here. Caitlin, why don't you remind everybody where you go to school and what grade you're in?
I go to Reagan Elementary and I'm in 6th grade.
And how did you hear, or when did you hear about Do the Math for the first time?
Probably in 4th grade.
So you heard about it in 4th grade, okay? And do you remember using Do the Math at all in 4th grade, or you just kind of heard about it?
I think I used it like once or twice.
So you used it once or twice, right? So then in 5th grade, were you reminded of it, or you just kind of remembered that it was there, and did you use it at all?
Just remembered it was there.
But you didn't really need it, or you didn't use it a lot, right?
No.
Now you're in 6th grade, and do you use it a lot?
Yeah.
I would have to say that you and another young lady probably use Do the Math the most out of anybody in all of Kern County, and I think we're in our, maybe Brian can correct me, are we in our 18th year or something like that? Oh, 16th year, all right. So in 16 years, I think that you and the other young lady that call in a lot this year are the ones that have used this the most. And you've walked out of here, well, you haven't walked out of here because we're always delivering your prizes to you, but you have won quite a few things this year, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the things that you've won for using Do the Math?
Condor tickets, CSUB, like sports and other things.
Okay, so Condor's tickets you've received. You've received tickets for CSUB, any athletic event. You've received a meal at Grillenberger. You've received a card at Chick-fil-A. You've received movie tickets to Maya Cinemas. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because everything that we've had, you've
Sometimes
won.
more than once.
Right. So I just wanted to say, oh, that's right, Cubby's Pizza, right? So I just wanted to say, we wanted to just say, awesome job for using the service, because there are a lot of students that are going, you know, I need the math help or something like that, and then they don't call for some reason. But you have used the service, so we just wanted to commend you on that, and we're always happy to hear from you. Now, you have some homework that you're working on. You want to do one of these problems right now?
Okay.
All right, head on over to the board. You and Susie are going to work on this. We'll take a look at number 5. You fill 1/4 of a 5-gallon bucket. So you girls can write up there whatever information you think is going to be important. 1/4 of a 5-gallon bucket. And you fill it up with water. Now they want to know how many more gallons of water will you need to fill the bucket. So how do you want to solve this problem? Just talk about it with Susie, and if you need some help, she's right there to help you out.
Multiply the two numbers together.
Okay. All right, you could do it that way. And we'll talk about another way to do it when you're done, okay?
So 1 over 4 times 5 over 1.
That's correct.
That equals 5 over 4. And then so So you would need 1 1/4.
Okay, so this answers the question, how much is full? But the question is actually, how much more do you need to get up to 5 gallons? So 1/4 of it is full, how much more do you need?
You need,
So you could do it like this. There's other ways to do it, but you could do it like this. Because you need to get up to 5. We've already filled it with 1 1/4, so then what would be left? You know how to do, what?
4 1/4.
Well, when you're subtracting, you have to take 1/4 away from something. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah. So you would change that to 4.
Good, and then what do I have here?
1/4.
1
4
whole,
over 4.
or 4/4. Okay, so when I bring my 1 over, I need it to be 4ths. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now go ahead and do that. Good. And then another way to do it is if 1/4 is full, how much is not full?
3/4.
3/4. So you could also do 3/4 times 5 over 1. And why don't you go ahead and see if you get this same answer when you do that. Yep. Okay. So
There you
that's
go.
great.
Nicely done. Problem number 5, solved quickly and easily. 636-4357 is the phone
Good
number.
job.
We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. And right now we have our first opportunity to head on out to Berkshire and see what our friends from Science for Kern are up to.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike and Susie. Welcome back. We are live at Berkshire Elementary School for our Science for Current Challenge. Oh, Michelle's here too. Did you see that happening? We're here for Science for Current again, and
Yes,
we've done
we are.
several of these this year already.
I was busy teaching.
Like our jobs. So, explain for our viewers again, if you're just joining us, a little bit about Science for Current and what our Science for Current challenges entail.
Yeah, our Science for Current challenge typically entails some sort of engineering challenge involving building. There's constraints, criteria that the construction has to meet. Usually there's a time criteria as well as a materials criteria as well. And that's what we were working on before I came into the shot. We were working with our building materials with the straws and the pins.
So we are allowing our students today to build structures using exclusively, like you mentioned, straws, like the flexible kind, and then these dressmaker pins, which are just very straight pins. They're not the safety pin types, and they are very easy to poke through. You can use these to poke through and create hinges and joints.
Correct. It's the idea being that the pins serve as a rivet in typical like skyscraper construction.
So you mentioned
like a bolt holding 2 pieces of wood together or 2 pieces of steel that you might ultimately do the same.
And so with the skyscraper in mind, let's talk a little bit about our Science for Current challenge for our friends here at Berkshire Elementary today.
All right, so the students have a bag of 50 straws and 50 straight pins in the bag as well. And the challenge is we'll start with building a freestanding structure at least 16 inches. That's what we were talking about just a moment ago, what 16 inches looks like. And ultimately, even further beyond that challenge is that the freestanding structure would be able to hold a 1/4 pound of rice, anchoring onto the top of the structure.
So stability and height are going to be key here.
Exactly. And then the even more super-duper challenge, if you will, is a second weight at the top of the structure.
So we're talking about 1/2 pound now.
Correct. And so here to start the challenge, the students have been practicing with first just getting the hang of putting the pin through the straws, And we've been working on trying to see what it takes to build squares and triangles. But I think now we're ready to actually start building the tower. What do you think? All right, are you ready?
Let's do this,
Okay,
folks.
let's do it. 16 inches up, freestanding, and hopefully you'll be able to hold a bag of rice, the weight at the top. So what are you thinking about strategy for going up now? Where are you going to go from here? You've been practicing.
We could build like a flat square and then start
could build that
connecting
thing
it
from,
so
like-
it goes up.
Wait, we
Okay.
could build the thing that she mentioned that was at Camp Keep. That helped,
What?
which was that triangle tower.
Like the dome.
Where they used a lot of triangles to build a tower to support the dome.
So what's interesting is the conversation about triangles versus squares as far as a very stable shape. And we've seen examples of both throughout history, going back even to the pyramids of Egypt. Like there's still long-standing structures that use simply triangles and squares as their foundations. So the conversation is continuing here.
All right, so now that you have, and it sounds like you guys have a great starting point. And you've got your straws and your pins. You've had a chance to practice, so let's get that tower going. Let's go, let's build up.
Here, you know, I've noticed that this group in particular has really played around with the structure of the straws themselves. We're not simply making shapes, but we're looking at the flexible hinge part. What have you noticed about these parts of the straw as you've explored those? So does that impact the stability of other parts of the shape that you build, or do you notice anything about how you pin them with that part of the straw built in place? Okay. So you've been playing around with putting the pins at the very ends of the straw, and like the way that you're flexing it right now, you can tell that there is a lot of torque in certain parts of those.
Check out the stability of this one. Do that again. So would this structure, this square as is, would this make a very, if you put a whole bunch of squares together, do you think there's a way that you could hook a bunch of squares together that would actually be stable? Because right there, if you let that go, it just bends over, right, and collapses. So think about that as you build up.
Now back here we have a group that's starting to
All right,
explore
we're going up,
beyond the second dimension. Here we
going
go.
up.
So in addition to using just the pins, it looks like you've used the structure of the straws itself to make these go a little bit higher and a little bit stronger. So would you be able to explain your thinking here?
I put the straws with the pins right here to go more higher up so that it holds stronger, and then in the middle to put another one to hold it more up for the weight.
All right, I noticed that your other teammates are building triangles. So what's going to happen with those triangles, folks?
We're going to build them up and up.
Do you have a strategy yet for how you might put those triangles together? What's that going to look like?
Maybe we can put like the needles sideways so we can attach them to on top of them.
Okay, so so if I put one here, where would the next one go?
Right here.
All right, well, interesting. Let's see where that goes. Keep going with that idea.
So we're going to continue our work here before we send it back into the studio, and we'll check back in a little bit later on to see the progress that we've made here for our Science for Current Challenge. But for now, let's send it back to the studio. Mike, Suzie, take it away.
All right, thanks for that, Devin. Be interesting to see how the students make out with these and what they finally reach at the end of this whole thing. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Right now, we'll go to the phones. An 8th grade student from Warren, Ryan. How are you today? Hello, Ryan. I take it Ryan is, there you go. Ryan, can you hear us all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I could faintly hear you right there, so I don't know if you need to put the phone closer to your mouth, but as soon as you are ready, let's hear the math problem that you're working on.
Okay, so 4 times, open parentheses, 2x plus 3, close parentheses, is equivalent to 6, open parentheses, x plus 3, close parentheses, minus 2.
All right, so take a look at the board. Is that everything that you need to do right there?
I think so.
All right.
Okay. So what do you think we should do first?
The distributive property?
That's correct. So 4 times 2x is,
8x,
okay, and 4 times 3 is
12.
12.
All right, and before you guys go on, Ryan, you can hear me fine, right?
Yes.
Okay, what I need you to do is turn down the volume either on the TV or computer or something. So turn the volume down so that you can hear us over the phone line, but then it won't be
Okay.
coming through a couple of seconds later also. All right, keep it going.
Okay. So 6 times x is equivalent to 6x, right?
Right? And 6 times 3 is,
18.
okay, and then do I do 6 times minus 2?
No.
No. Okay, then what do you want to do next?
Combine like terms?
I can't hear. Do you hear what he said?
Um,
Are you going to combine like terms?
So 18 minus 2 is 16.
Okay, so I'm having a hard time hearing you, but do you agree with what I've written here?
So you've got 8x plus 12 is equal to 6x plus 16.
Yes, I
Okay.
believe that's correct.
Okay. All right, and what comes next?
We get the variables on one side and the numbers on the other.
Did he say subtract 6x from both sides?
Right, he wants us to get the variables on one side, so
Okay,
we'll take
that's
away
good.
6x.
Okay. And let's see if we still agree. 2x plus 12 equals 16.
Yes.
Okay. And then what?
And then you subtract 12 from both sides, so you have 2x is equal to 4.
Okay. You can probably do that in your head, but just in case, what do we end up with?
2x is equal to 4, which is x is equal to 2.
Good. And let's go back and substitute it. Okay. So if I put 2 here, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So 4 times 7 is what?
28.
28. And then over here I have 2 plus 3 is 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. And 30 minus 2 is?
28.
Good.
There you
both
go. So
sides
it
checked.
checks. Everything is done nicely right there. So x is equal to 2. Congratulations, Ryan. And for that great problem, we'll be serving you a pie, pizza pie, courtesy of our friends at Cubby's. So hopefully you have an opportunity to go enjoy that. Hey, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We'll get to the phones once again in a moment. But right now we need to work with Caitlin. So Caitlin, go ahead and head on over to the board. And we're going to take a look. And this was another homework problem that you're working on. And we'll fill it in the way that you've got it and see what this comes up with. All right? So we needed to use the numbers 1 through 9, each one of them once. So let's go ahead and put these up there. So we have 0.631 plus 7.52 plus 98.4. All right, so talk us through this, what you're doing, and why you lined up the numbers like that instead of moving all the numbers over.
What was your purpose? To get the largest number possible?
Yes.
Okay.
But why the numbers are lined up like that instead of, because the 98 is a little further over than the other numbers, so why is that one further over?
Because when you add decimals, you need to line up the numbers.
Right. So you line up the decimal points, right? Okay. And in those spots where there are no numbers, what can you put in there?
Zeros.
Right.
Good. Okay. And if your goal was to get the largest number possible, that seems like a really intelligent thing to do, to put the 9 in the biggest place value. So I'm seeing a pattern here: 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that was some seriously good thinking.
So let's find out what it all adds up to.
Okay.
So you've got 106.551. All right. So what we're going to do is, while we go to the next phone call, we're going to have you work on this and see if there's another way to get even bigger number with those same numbers. All right. All right. So we'll write that down. Let me write that down in your homework paper so that we remember what you've got. 106.551. All right. So we'll work on that while we go to the next call. Right now, we've got a 6th grade student from Reagan Elementary. And Jana, how are you this afternoon?
Good.
And what kind of math problems are you working on right now? You want to just read it to us?
Okay. Johnny's stock increased by 20% in the last year. It is now worth $5 more than a year ago. What was the stock's value a year ago in dollars?
Okay, so he has a stock, and it raised 20% in the last year, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the stock increased by 20%. And it's worth $5 more than it was last year. So what was the value a year ago in dollars is the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
How would you like to start the problem?
By writing an equation.
Okay. Go ahead and tell me what you think you could do.
0.20 multiplied by x would equal 5.
Can you speak up a little bit?
0.20 multiplied by x would equal 5.
Okay. That sounds good, because we know that 20% and 5 are the same thing, but one's in percent and one's in dollars. So then what would you do?
We would have to divide each side by 0.20.
Good. Okay.
And so we would get x equals 25.
Okay, so let's check this. You got 25?
Yes.
I agree. Good job.
There you go, nicely done. And Donna, for that great problem right there, we're going to send you a movie ticket courtesy of our friends at Maya Cinema. So congratulations on that. Hey, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon. And did you come up with some other numbers? You want to try something different? Let's just throw some different numbers in there and see how you do. All right? So head on over to the board. And let's write down your original problem, first of all. So go ahead and put it on that side of the board. 0.631. 7.52, and then 98.4. Okay, and we know that that all came out to be 106.551. Now, we were just talking a little bit ago, we want to keep the 98 point something, right? So let's go over on the other side. We'll leave it at 98 point something. And maybe where the blank is, put a little line under that, right next to it. There you go. So we know we have to put a number in there. All right. And let's go with 7 point, and then 2 numbers after that. And the last one was point, and then 3 numbers after that. So you've already used 7, 8, and 9. So think about where you would like to put some of the other ones. And you know what, if you want to, erase the top 3 numbers over on the side that you have already done, because they might start interfering with your new problem.
Okay. Yeah, well, I can write the problem over here.
Well, as long as we know that it was 106.551.
Okay, all right.
And then maybe Suzie just write 106.551 over there. And we'll give you a minute. Just throw some other numbers in there, and we'll see how they work. and if you get anything larger than 106, okay? Yeah, you're good. Just
You're
carry
good.
that one over.
Just keep going.
So we've got 106.191. All right, so you're still stuck at that 106 right there. All right, so go ahead and get rid of those because we know that's not going to become any larger right there. And we'll continue with Kaylin working on that. But right now, we do have another opportunity. We're going to go back out live to Berkshire Elementary and see how they're working on Science for Kern.
We are back here live at Berkshire Elementary School as we are underway with our. You guys don't have to stop just because of us. You guys keep going.
In fact, keep building.
Coming back here, and we couldn't help ourselves. John and Willie, everybody, we're in on it.
Everybody's building.
And coming back on this part here, this could have gone horrifically wrong. So thank you for your patience, those of you at home. So, Michelle, we have seen some wondrous experiments and some design approaches, failures, and reapproaches.
Exactly. And so this is the beginnings of your construction.
I just got here. I started this. Yes.
All right. So
be gentle.
Is this your base?
This is going to be my base. Yes.
All right. And I was just talking with a group over there about a base, and what they were experiencing is they had two straws that kept opening up, so when they pushed on the top, it sort of caved in or crushed it.
Right.
And so they had to engineer a way to keep the base from closing in on itself.
Absolutely.
Is that what led you to this triangle shape?
Well, I figured the triangle would be the most stable base so I could build my columns upwards, so I could have interloping triangles that would alternate as I built up. However, one of the things I tried to... Why is this about me? I'm a grown man. I do this all the time.
But we have lots of kids in the room who are building with triangles, right?
So my thinking was to insert and sleeve the straws into the short parts so I wouldn't have to pin them together.
And what do you think about this double straw thing?
It's going to give it...
What added benefit do you get?
Well, you also get a little bit more stability when you have the overlap, whereas you would generally only have one layer of straw. Now you have a double layer.
Excellent. Let's talk to this other group over here who now has some triangles as part of their structure. They've been experimenting with triangles and finally come up with a plan for what to do. Guys, can you talk about your work so far here? Tell us what you've been up to and why.
We're building like a pyramid thing, and then we're gonna probably put this on top, so we could put like the rice on there and see if it holds.
So are you going to attach this part to the top?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? How is that going to work?
It's also supposed to be like 16, like I forgot, like inches or something.
Oh, 16 inches tall?
Okay.
All right, but
yeah,
yeah, you have a ways to go to get to 16 inches, but you have a great beginning here. And I'm curious, though, about adding this piece to the top. How and where is this going to go? Can you talk about that a little bit?
He just kind of like made it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they're still trying to make a plan with it though.
Yeah.
All right.
So you have it, and when you see a place for it, we'll find a place to put it in. But this was the first structure that you built, and you don't want to throw it away, but you want to see how it fits in with what you're working on here, with the triangles forming almost what will be a larger base, almost in the shape of maybe, I want to say a pentagon or a hexagon here.
Right. And two, consider this, that ultimately it's going to have to hold a bag of rice, right? You're going to have to hold a weight on top. So when you think about this too, if you push gently on top, you know what? It feels pretty stable to me. Push just gently on top. What do you think? Not too hard.
It didn't break per se.
It doesn't break, does it? But if you just push gently on top. It doesn't immediately cave in either, though. I think you guys might be on the right track. What do you think? Keep working there. Let's go to this group here who has a different shape that they're working with and another interesting shape on top. Talk about what you guys are up to there.
I've started with a base, a flexible base that would be able to like move in different shapes.
And then also, I was thinking put like, I don't know how to explain it, but like a net kind of shape to hold the bag of rice.
So you're going to have a kind of a carrier that you'll be able to put the bag of rice into that will be hanging from the top here. Is that kind of your plan here? So you're going to build like a suspension on the inside.
Is that what you're thinking? Oh, okay, excellent.
It has to be sturdy.
All right, so right now, too, I'm thinking that you're probably about halfway there in terms of height. So now the next thing I want you to think about is going up, maybe at least twice that high. And what shape do you think you'll use to go up?
Triangle.
All right. I don't know. What do you think? Triangle? Maybe a square? All right. We'll let you guys talk about that, and we'll come back and check on you.
We'll check on the rest of our groups when we come back in a little bit. So when we return, we'll take a look at our final results. We'll do some testing to see if they hold the bags, if they're 16 inches high. And we will wrap up our Science for Current Challenge here live at Berkshire Elementary School.
Because you probably want to get back to your building, right?
I have made it so far without poking my fingers, and I think I'm on a winning streak. We're going to pull this off.
It's
and
a
if
win.
not, workers' comp. I'm calling you. Until then, we're going to go right back to the studio. Mike, take it away.
All right, thanks for that. Hey, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We've got Caitlin in studio. We'll do more right after this. Today we're at Pond School, home of the Eagles, and we're here to And once again, we're back at Pond School. We've got some students in 7th and 8th grade working with number patterns. They've been working with patterns, developing their own patterns, taking a look at if they can solve each other's problems. Now they're going to have an exact number or a pattern that they need to look for, all right? Take the cards apart, spread them out so that you can see all of them at the same time, and go ahead and solve the pattern that you need to do. Yeah, all of the cards are one problem, all right? So you need to look at all 6 cards and be able to see if you can solve the pattern. What are they looking for?
Kevin has 3 kids at home. There's a small school, there are only 6 classrooms in the whole school.
Well, because you say the 5th number is the 3rd number and plus the 4th number.
Right, so all of these clues go together. So you guys have to work together. Right, it's a puzzle. You have to work together with all the clues. Right, all 6 cards make one problem.
Oh, yeah. And then the 5th is the 3rd
so
number.
that's what we're trying to figure out. We know that there's 6 classrooms, and in every classroom there's seats. And one table there's seats, in the tables there's seats 4. But we don't know how many tables there are.
3rd number raised to the 6th.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll take a look at what you guys are doing right now. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so it says there are 7 students in the photo lineup. You've got 7 students. Angela and Luann are best friends. All right, does that help us really?
No.
Not at the moment. But this one, it says Angela didn't get to stand next to her best friend, Luann. So Angela and Luann cannot be next to each other. All right? Otis is the only boy that is standing between 2 girls. So Otis has to be between 2 girls.
And he's the shortest.
And we know that Otis is the shortest somewhere?
Yeah, it says right here, Otis is almost the shortest.
Almost the shortest. So he's going to be towards one of the ends. Right? Kevin has 3 kids on each side of him. So good, you've got Kevin right in the middle. Right? So we know that one's done. Right? Angela and Luann are not standing next to each other. Oh, that's this one, right?
The third number raised to the third power equals.
So they're tallest or shortest, all right? John and Luann are standing on the ends.
No, wait, switch them again.
You could put the
Third
lines
number
like
is the
almost
second
tallest.
number plus 1.
Wait,
so,
but then it's.
I mean, Keisha.
Wait,
and
Hold
the
up.
fourth number is the third number plus 1.
Yeah.
The fifth
Right.
number
True,
is
true,
the
true.
third number.
Okay, so now take a look at it. See if everything works. Here's the way you guys should have it. You should have John, Keisha, Jose, Kevin, Angela, Otis, Luann. Nicely done.
Third number times.
How are you doing?
So far I got it all right until this one. Now this one, the fourth pile is 1/3 less than the fifth pile. So it can't be 10.
Well, yeah, it's 1/3 less, because all you had to do is take off 10,
Oh,
right? So all you have to do is find this one now. All right, so if we went from 1 to 3, what did we do?
add 3 or times 3.
Okay, so we either times 3 or we
Add.
added 2. So down here put times 3 and up here put add 2. Okay, now how did we go from 3 to 6?
Add 3.
Okay, so we can add 3, so put the add up here. Or we could do what?
Times 2.
So put times 2 down there. Now to go from 6 to 10, what do we do?
Add 4.
Add 4. Is there any way to multiply to go from 6 to 10? No, so we know we're not going to be multiplying anything. So if we added 2, we added 3, we added 4, what are we doing here?
Add 5.
There you go. And what do you think we have to do next?
Add 6.
There you go. So what's the number going to be?
21.
There you go. Nicely done. So the kids are working on patterns, finding the specific pattern based on the clue cards they had, 7th and 8th graders at Pond School.
Which is the third number raised to the third power equals 6 number.
And a big thanks to all the staff and students at Pond School. We certainly did have an enjoyable day while we were out there. We have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. Right now we have another student from Reagan, and Brian. How are you this afternoon?
Hi.
Are you doing well?
Yes, I'm doing very well.
Good. Read the problem that you want to work on right now.
Okay, so the problem is a paper towel is 11 inches wide and 11 1/8 inches long. What is the area of the paper towel?
All right, well, you know what? Lucky that you called in, because that is the problem that we have underneath the camera, and we were going to work on that one with Caitlin right now. So, Caitlin, over to the board and take it away.
So what do you want to start with first, Brian?
I would like to start with the distributive property by doing 11 plus 1/8 in parentheses times 11.
So
Okay.
he wants to do this, 11 times 11 plus 1/8. I wouldn't have done it that way, but that's certainly a valid way to do it.
Okay. So,
Actually, I like that way. Ask him what.
What do you want to do next?
I would want to do, so I would do 11 times 11 equals 121, and 11 over 1 times 1/8 equals 11 over 8.
Plus.
And then add the products together.
And he said 11/8. Sorry, I kind of drowned him out. Oh, 11/8. So, yeah, 11 on the top and 8 on the bottom. So you did 11 times 1/8, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think you should do next?
I would add 121 plus 1 3/8.
Okay, and that's correct. Where did you get the 1 3/8 from?
When I multiplied 11 over 1 times 1/8.
Okay, so 11/8 is equal to 8/8, which is 1 whole, and 3 more eighths, right? So 11/8 is 1 3/8.
Yes.
Yes, okay, I agree. So what's next?
So after I add, I would get the sum of 122 3/8.
I agree, and I really like that way of doing it.
And what is the final answer, though?
The final answer is 122 3/8.
And what
3/8.
kind of
What?
Do you have square inches, square feet, square meters?
Square inches.
Now, are you guessing or are you telling us that it's square inches?
I'm telling you.
Oh, you're telling us what's right up there, huh?
Okay, good.
I'm only kidding. That's good. All right. Caitlin, do you agree with how Brian solved that problem?
Yeah.
So you're good with that?
Yes.
All right. Well, Brian, if Caitlin is all right with that, then we're all right with that. So congratulations for doing that problem successfully. You've got yourself a meal of your choice, courtesy of our friends at Grill & Burger. So congratulations on that. All right, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We'll get back to the phones in a moment, but right now we're going to go back out to Berkshire Elementary. We're just going to kind of peek in on the kids and see how they're doing right now. And we can see that they're working on, I do remember Michelle from Science for Kern saying that the students needed to attain a height of, I think, at least 16 inches. So I think some of them had to work on getting a little taller and then putting a bag of some sort on top of that. Is that kind of what you got from this, Caitlin? I know you've been doing a lot of work in the meantime here, but have you done anything like this in your classroom when you're working with straws and doing some engineering things like this?
Yeah.
No? Well, you know what? You can also tell your teacher that if you guys want Science for Kern to come out to your classroom, all they have to do is go online, Science for Kern, and they can come out to your classroom, and you guys can do some activities like this as well. So we'll check out with these guys in just a few moments. Right now, we do have time for one more call. Alina, how are you today?
Good.
And you are also in 6th grade, correct?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you are friends with Caitlin?
Yes.
All right. Well, Caitlin, you want to do some more work, or should we hear what she's doing first?
See what she's.
Yeah, let's hear what you're doing first. Alina, read the problem that you're working on.
Okay. The problem is 5 to the third times y to the third minus 8 divided by 4 when y equals 2.
All right, so you may have to say that one more time for Susie to make sure everything is up there correct. So read it again and maybe just a little slower with the problem.
5 to the third power times y to the third power minus 8 divided by 4 when y equals 2.
Okay, and we're only dividing the 8 by 4, right? Or the whole thing by 4?
No, only the 8 by 4.
Okay, then I think we've got it up there correctly.
Yeah.
So Caitlin, do you want to work on it, or do you want?
We'll make Alina do this one.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what do you think I should do first?
5 to the third power.
Okay. And what's that?
125.
Good. And then?
Y to the third power, which was 8.
Okay, so I'm going to stick that little step in there. So 125 times 8 minus?
Minus 8 divided by 4, which was 2.
Good. Okay.
And then I got 125 times 8 is 1,000.
Right.
Minus 2 is 998.
I definitely agree. You did really, really well.
Thank you.
There you go. Nicely done. Congratulations on that, Alina. And for doing such a wonderful job on that, you're going to receive a couple of tickets to CSUB, courtesy of CSUB Athletics Department. And those are good for any sport that you would like to go and see what's going on. I know that basketball is coming to an end pretty close here. A few more weeks in that. I know that wrestling just wrapped up, I think, their final match at CSUB. But there's always swimming and diving going on. Baseball is coming up. Softball has already started. So there's a couple of things going on with that. All right, you know what? Young lady, let's head over to the board one more time. And I'm going to give you one more minute. We're going to see if we can come up with a different total that was more than what you had the first time, all right? So the first one we had was 98 point blank. The next one that you had was 7 point and then 2 spots after it. And the last one was decimal point with 3 numbers after it. So try again once again, see what kind of numbers you can get in there, see if we can get anything larger than 106. Now, keep going, right? You're 2 up there. Why did you decide to put a 1 all the way at that end instead of someplace else?
Because that's the thousandths place, so it's the least.
This is the one with the least value, right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure because that was a good option to put right there. All right, let's go ahead. Add them up quickly and we'll see what we get. $106.461. So it looks like your original way so far was still going to be the best one that we have so far. All right, well, we'll keep on working on that. In the meantime, we do have one last opportunity. We will go out to Berkshire Elementary, visit with Devin and Michelle and the kids from Science for Kern.
And we're back here at Berkshire Elementary, and we're wrapping things up with our Science for Current Challenge. Michelle's here, see?
We're
Proved
having a
it.
great time.
I was telling the truth, she's here. So we're getting to the point where time is narrowing down. Some groups have been testing things out. And we've gone beyond simply design ideas and basic shapes and
Right.
structural theories. These have gone exceedingly complex over the last 15 minutes or so.
Correct, yeah. We have a lot of kids who are super close to the holding the weight constraint. And we have some actually who are pretty close to the 16 inches.
Let's go ahead and take a look and see where we are.
All right, guys.
Okay.
So talk about what you've done so far.
I fell apart.
Well, tell us what you had.
So we made a square
Pyramid that has these up here, and we're using this to anchor it, so it doesn't just split apart.
Because this one's more stable. This one was I don't know.
So what did this look like originally? What was the design?
It was like, kind of like that, but with like a bunch of thorns and mess.
With more pins.
All right, so now you're trying to do what? What's your plan now with this new design?
I'm trying to make it more sturdy and a little bit more taller, so it can reach the 16 inches mark.
Okay, and so immediately I see you working on a part of it right now. What are you doing?
I'm trying to anchor these two together so it doesn't just split apart.
And we can just hang it.
And hang what?
The right.
All right, we'll come back.
Now, we did want to share one of our groups that has nailed not just 1 quarter pound, but 2 quarter pounds over here.
Oh, wow. Tell us about your structure, boys, and why do you think you have success?
I feel like the triangles and
Let's take them off. That's all right. We know that it did work
You saw it,
originally.
there's proof, it's on camera.
It
Everybody
was,
saw
and it did hold it.
You saw that,
The
America.
straws could possibly help support the triangles at the bottom, and then this structure at the top could also be very, very strong with all the triangles or structures, and that's probably what helps us hold it up.
Okay, something to consider then. So we all witnessed that you had 2 bags on there, which is something to celebrate. But then did it tip over, or what happened as it sat?
It just kind of like tipped over.
Okay, so consider this then. Let's think out loud. If we wanted your structure to stand for a minute, let's say for a whole minute, without toppling over, holding the 2 bags of rice, So doing exactly what it was doing except for longer. What do you think has to change in order for that to happen? What could you modify in your design?
We could, I don't know exactly where we should put the straws, but maybe just create a better structure on the bottom so it'll hold it up more.
Well, I feel like there's some wobble. So do you think that might help the wobble?
Yeah.
All right, so work on that. Way to go, boys. Okay, check this out.
Here we go.
So tell us about your design and what do you think is contributing to the success?
Well, we did put like a double triangle inside, just so it can keep the form like still up.
Point out your double triangle. What are you referring to?
It's right here and right there. That's the bottom and that's the top up here.
All right, so check this out. So tell me about all these cross straws that you have repeated throughout your structure. What purpose do you think those are serving?
To support it?
Okay, why?
Well, because at first we tried putting one and it started going a little down. Before we put any rice, we started pushing with our fingers down to see where's all the loose parts. And once we found all the loose parts, we made it secure, and now it can hold both bags.
You were constantly testing your structure for weaknesses or failure points, and you would strengthen based on those constant tests.
All right, that's terrific. Congratulations.
And we have one other group. We talked about how they were creating a net inside, and it looks like they're just working on the stability of the structure at this point, because they had nested some of the rice inside that that net area.
So if I hold it together up top here, you guys want to do a little test? Let me hold.
Here.
You
Ooh.
here. We'll stick
hold it
that
for
on.
now.
I'll just hold it for now.
We'll use
just
finger
for-
pins.
How does it do? So check that out. All right. So right now, with me squeezing up top, it does hold your one bag of rice. What has to happen now to get this to stay as is? What do we need to do now?
We need attach it.
Yeah, we
Connect it together.
Here.
And
You
make
need-
it stronger.
There you go. Do you think one pin is going to be enough?
No, multiple.
All right. All right. So I'll let you guys work on that. Nice work there.
A lot of progress here, Michelle.
There was some major learning going on in the room today, and not only with the students, with the grown-ups as well. who,
Yeah, we don't have
got
to
in-
mention that. That didn't
Got
happen,
into this
everybody.
challenge
No, we're good.
today
It's
as
good.
well. Everyone was a learner here today.
Okay, yeah, everybody, sure. Back to the studio, Mike. Take it away.
All right, thanks for that. Thanks also to all of our phone callers this afternoon, as well as Caitlin for coming in today. You have received everything possibly from Do the Math except this. You now have a uniform. Because people have offered to buy these, but the only way you can receive one is actually by being on the program. So congratulations on that, and we hope you continue to keep using the service. You think you'll keep using it?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, there you go. Hey, and until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, and the Kern High School District, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.